Sometimes the most explosive moments in Formula One never make it to the broadcast. While the cameras lingered on Charles Leclerc, basking in the glow of a Hungarian GP pole position, something very different was happening in the shadows. Away from the cheers, Lewis Hamilton stood before the media, stripped of his usual composure. "I'm useless. Maybe they need a new driver," he said. The feed quickly cut away. Headlines celebrated Ferrari's success, but hidden underneath was a chilling message. Not about lap times, but about trust. That single outburst became the seed of something bigger. Online theories started to multiply. Was Hamilton running a different car spec? Why had Leclerc tested a fresh rear wing in FP1 while Hamilton only tried it later? The whispers were loud enough that former McLaren strategist Bernie Collins stepped in quickly, calling it just driver preference and denying any conspiracy. But her delivery was unusually firm, the kind of firmness you hear when paddock tension has already leaked into public view. In F1, quick rebuttals aren't always about the facts, they're about controlling the narrative. And for Hamilton, this wasn't simply a dip in performance, it was a fracture in belief. Hungary's FP1 tells the story. Leclerc was first to sample an alternate rear wing and beam wing combination, aerodynamic tweaks not yet used in a race. Only after that session was Hamilton allowed to run the same spec. Officially, nothing was withheld. Both drivers had access. But in Formula One, when you get a part can be just as significant as whether you get it at all. To the casual fan, it might sound trivial, but inside the paddock, everyone knows that the order in which new components are handed out can shape development paths, confidence, and momentum. Bernie Collins tried to calm the noise. The wings were slightly different, probably just driver preference. One's a bit better in qualifying, the other for race trim. On paper, it's a perfectly reasonable explanation, yet the fact that she felt compelled to repeat the point twice almost guaranteed the theory would survive. And the weekend's visuals didn't help. Hamilton out in Q2, Leclerc planting the same car on pole. Even if the mechanical differences were minor, the optics were damning. When a 7-time world champion calls himself useless in front of the world, something deeper is wrong. And it's rarely just about setup sheets. Hamilton's comment resurfaced after failing to make Q3. "It's just me every time, I'm useless. Maybe they need to change driver." The words were raw, but the weekend's official story barely mentioned them. No Ferrari rebuttal, no public vote of confidence, just silence. And silence, in this sport, often says the most. This wasn't the Mercedes-era Hamilton who dissected every lap and lifted the entire garage. This was a Hamilton in Ferrari, red sounding detached, more like an outsider in someone else's project. The team insists he has full backing. Collins says both sides are working equally hard to get the most from both drivers. But Hamilton's tone told a different truth, one of isolation, not inclusion. In Formula One, drivers choose their words carefully. Maybe they need to change driver can sound like self-criticism, but it can also be a coded warning, a way of forcing the team to listen. Behind closed doors in Maranello, unity is essential if they're going to fend off Mercedes in the constructors' fight. But in the garage, it feels like two separate campaigns. One driver stacking podiums, the other stuck in setup purgatory. Ferrari insists on equal treatment, but equal treatment doesn't always mean equal opportunity. Leclerc has all 5 of the team's podiums this year, plus Hungary's pole. Hamilton's highlight so far? A sprint win in China, and a growing list of weekends spent chasing the right setup. Officially, the SF-25 is identical for both drivers. The settings are collaborative, the adjustments transparent. Yet subtle decisions. Who gets upgrades first? Whose feedback guides development? Who steers simulator work? Create ripple effects. Collins defends the wing choice again. One works slightly better over a single lap, the other over a stint. Fair enough, but the bigger picture is harder to ignore. Every small decision feeds into a larger perception that one driver is shaping the car around his style, while the other is still trying to fit into it. When Hamilton joined Ferrari, it was framed as a union of equals. Now the numbers and the on-track reality suggest something else. One lead, one follower. And in a year where Ferrari is chasing McLaren for the constructors' title, any hint of favouritism isn't an accident. It's a tactic, one they'll never admit, but one Hamilton may already be reading between the lines. On paper, this is Ferrari's strongest driver pairing in a decade. But Hungary proved that on-track speed isn't their only battle. The fight for trust, control, and influence may be the one that decides how this story ends. Every race weekend now plays out like déjà vu. Leclerc settles quickly, confident in the car's edge. Hamilton keeps tweaking, adjusting, never quite locking it in. As the technical crew channels energy into keeping Mercedes at bay, the widening gap between their drivers gets tucked away under post-race briefings and tidy PR quotes. Ferrari repeats the mantra, both drivers matter. Yet on a recent strategy podcast, Bernie Collins' choice of words slipped through. Ferrari has a real opportunity in the constructors because both drivers are hopefully scoring points. Not consistently, not equally. In Formula One, single words can speak volumes. What happens when one becomes essential and the other feels replaceable? With 10 rounds remaining, Ferrari faces a decision. Double down on the one delivering podiums or repair the disconnect with the one they recruited to win championships. Because if this quiet gulf remains, the break won't just be about machinery, it'll be cultural and it'll be irreversible. Telemetry can tell you where a lap was lost. And in Hungary, the numbers were plain. Sluggish Sector 1, instability at turns 4 and 11. Engineers insist the grip difference was manageable and that Hamilton simply didn't extract enough. But this isn't about lap time, it's about belief. After his Q2 exit in Budapest, Hamilton didn't pore over data. He didn't dissect the session. His words were stripped of analysis. They probably need to change driver. That's not a comment on setup. It's a sign of detachment from the institution itself. Ferrari's engineers publicly maintain their support. Collins echoed the company line, everyone's working to get the best from both. But off-record chatter from Maranello reveals a more telling refrain. We're still trying to understand what he needs. Still trying halfway through the season, after a transfer that shook the sport. Trust in Formula One isn't declared in statements. It's shown in the tone of a debrief, in the sequence of upgrade allocations, in the silence after a poor lap. And Hamilton, a master at reading these subtleties, can feel when the energy in the room shifts. This summer break, it's colder than usual. Power in F1 doesn't change with a press release. It changes with whoever sets the baseline. Since Hungary, Ferrari's structure hasn't visibly changed. No major personnel moves, no official realignment. But beneath the surface, roles are cementing. Leclerc leads simulator feedback, his style shaping the SF-25's development. Every upgrade tested in his hands first. It's not favoritism, it's momentum, born from results. Reinforced by silence. Hamilton isn't fighting it. His media quotes are brief, his body language guarded. For a driver renowned for moulding teams around his feel, this version is subdued, not from lack of talent, but from a missing alignment with the project. Even Collins' efforts to cool the speculation only confirmed the pecking order. Leclerc ran the new rear wing first, Hamilton only afterwards. In Formula One, sequence matters. With McLaren stretching their lead and Mercedes faltering, Ferrari is likely to follow the path of least resistance. Ride the wave of what's already working. That might deliver points now, but it risks leaving long-term cracks, because no amount of mechanical fine-tuning can inspire a driver who's no longer shaping the team, only enduring it. The summer pause didn't ease the strain, it solidified it. In Maranello, things appear calm, no explosive leaks, no drama, just a team preparing for Zandvoort with one objective: keep Mercedes behind, pressure McLaren. But the hierarchy is set. Leclerc returns as the architect of the project, his car, his input, his fingerprints on every setup. Hamilton returns with something far harder to measure: doubt. Not about his ability, but about what Ferrari truly wants from him. No team will admit to sidelining a driver. It happens quietly through inertia, subtle preferences, and small choices that accumulate. He's not being forced out. He's being outrun by a structure that no longer bends to him. But Zandvoort offers a rare chance to reclaim ground. A track of flowing rhythm, high-speed commitment, and fine margins where instinct can trump data. If Hamilton wants to turn this around, this is where it starts. At this stage, every outlap is a signal, every radio message a negotiation, and every finish a referendum. When FP1 begins, the most telling data won't be about grip levels or horsepower. It will reveal something deeper: who still has faith and who's already letting go.